So you want to be an acolyte? We're very happy. Now there's more responsibility for an acolyte than there is for a banner bearer. And we want to let you know that long ago, the acolytes were the people who held the light for people who were going into places that were called catacombs. They're like a cave because early Christians weren't safe in worshiping Jesus publicly. So they had to go into places that we might think would be dark and scary, but they are not scary because Jesus is with us. But the light of the acolyte helped people to see where they were going and helped them to be able to read the letters, like the letters of Paul and the Gospels about Jesus. So the acolyte has a very important role from way back when. So when you put on your robe, it's a reminder that we're followers of Jesus and he covers us in his love. So we're always safe and we're always full of joy. We also want to make sure that when we get our tapers, that's what these are called, a taper. There's a place for the wick that we're going to light in a minute. And then this is called a bell that we're going to use to put out the candles. And on your taper, there's a very important piece down here that helps you to move your taper up and down, which is very important because we want to have enough wick out, maybe about an inch, because you don't want a long torch blowing. You just want a little bit of a flame there, about an inch. And the adult back here will help you to have it lit. Now, whenever you're walking with your tapers lit, it's important for your bell to be down and your flame to be up. Now, we're going to go ahead and show you that when it comes time to light the candles up front, once you've lit the candles, you're going to extinguish the taper by pulling down that wick. So you watch how when you pull it down, you do not want to blow it out because wax goes everywhere. It could even go on somebody else and burn them. So you're carrying fire. So we want to put the taper out, put it out the fire by using the little stick that goes up and down. Now, once we're ready to go into worship, then we'll light your taper, and having two acolytes, which is ideal, they'll be next to each other. Banner bearers are front and back. Acolytes are next to each other, right behind the crucifer, the one who's carrying the cross. So when we go in, we don't want to run, but we also don't want to dawdle. We want to be behind the crucifer, and we need to make sure that we've got enough flame so that the wick is not going out, because sometimes the air conditioning is blowing and it might put out your wick. So when you come as an acolyte to the front, you're not going to stop like the banner bearer. The crucifer is going to come here and you're going to come right up on either side of the crucifer. And the first place you're going is to the altar. Each of you will light an altar candle. And having done that, you want to stay together in rhythm. Then you will turn, because we're going to pretend like there's a Christ candle here. You're going to turn together, and you're both together. Let's pretend here's the Christ candle. And you're both together going to light it. Wonderful. And we'll say that it's lit. Then you're going to turn. If there's candelabra, let's pretend like there's candelabra back here, okay? We'll do another video with those in there. But you light from the outside in. You'll light, there's outside, Miss Susan. There we go. Your other outside. There we go. Good job. So from the outside in, because the light of Christ is coming in to the holy place. This whole area is called the chancel, and it's where we share the means of grace. We share the word, reading the Bible, preaching God's word, and the sacraments, holy baptism and holy communion. So this is the chancel area. And as an acolyte, you get to come in here as a part of your job. You did not get to do that as a banner bearer. Now, once the candelabra are lit at the back from the outside in, then you're going to turn, and the last things that will be lit are these torches. And you'll both, again, wanting to be together, want to light your torches. And notice how Miss Susan and Miss Amanda have their taper down. they're not trying to light their candles like this, okay? That with the bell down, they have the fire down. That's why it's bent like that. You have the fire down, not the fire up. Now, once they lit that, they're going to pull their stick down. And watch that. See that? The flame goes right out because it's taken down into the stick. Now, having lit their candles, they will go out the side gates, okay? And ideally, so that we're not having to worry about tripping on our robes, Miss Amanda, you'll come in front of the lectern. Miss Susie, you'll go in front of the pulpit. And there might be somebody here to get this gate for you, but maybe not. So the gate, you have to be careful stepping over the cushions. And as they're doing, you'll put your taper. There's a hook behind this support where you'll hang that taper. And then the first song might still be going on, so you'll get your bulletin and you'll begin to sing because you're a worship leader. You're a worship leader, and you want people to see that you're worshiping the Lord. Now, during worship, you want to participate because people are watching. You're up in the front. And yet then, once we come through the whole of worship, sometimes a part of worship will be you're gathering the empty cups at communion, following behind person, and the person receiving communion will put their empty cup in, and you, having received their empty cup, you could say to them, God bless you, as they get up and go back to their seat. Now, once worship is coming to its end, you'll come back, you'll grab your taper first. That's important, Pastor Chris. You need to get your taper, and then you will come in through your gate, and you'll go stand next to the altar. You'll go stand next to the altar, okay? And when the closing hymn is happening, you're standing next to the altar just like Miss Susan and Miss Amanda are, and the crucifer will be here, the banner bearers will be here, Pastor Chris will be over here, and when I nod to the crucifer will start to go out. That's the cue for the acolytes. The first thing that the acolytes will do is start extinguishing the candles, starting with the least important, the ones that we lit last. So you'll use your bells to actually come down here together and to put out, you have to put the bell over it just long enough to take the air away. That's how the candle's going out. You're not putting the candle out by scraping your bell across the candle. You lay the bell down and take away the air, and then it will go out. If it didn't go out the first time, just put it down there again, wait for your partner, and there we go, it's out. Now, then they'll turn and go back and put out the candelabra from the inside out. Put out the candelabra from the inside out, because now the light is going out to the world. It had come in at the beginning, but now it's going out to the world. And if there is a Christ candle, then the acolyte on this side, on the pulpit side, which would be, it's the right hand of God side. That acolyte will put out the Christ candle here in the middle. The other one waits patiently. All right, we're out. Now, the last thing is that you acolytes need to put your wick up, because you need to light your tapers from your candle, and having lit your taper, turn your wick, there we go, and now use your bell to put out the altar candles. There we go, together, and then together you're going to come out and take the light out into the world. By this time, By this time, the crucifer is gone, the banner bearers are gone, and it's just left for the two of you to come on out, bringing the light to the world. The crucifer will be back here, and so you will then go around the crucifer so that you're going on out past them, taking the light into the world, and the final song should be about done at that place. But once you hear the go in peace and serve the Lord, that's when you pull down your lights, your tapers, and you've done a great job. Now, one last little thing. Once you put out your taper, you want to go ahead and push it back up, because there's wet wax in there, and if you don't push it back up, then it can stick, as has happened many times, and it causes a problem for those who will serve next week. So pull it down, put it out, and then push it up so that you have dry wick up out at the top instead of wet wax down in. Good job, acolytes. In the event that there is just one acolyte, when you come in with the procession, you want to come on this side, the left side of the crucifer, and go directly to the altar and light that altar candle first, because it is the right hand of God as you're facing the congregation. Then you'll light the other altar candle, and as Miss Amanda just did, you do not want to put your flame over the altar cloths, because somebody spilled wax and lit them on fire a number of years ago. So, having lit the two altar candles, Miss Amanda will then light the Christ candle. If it's here, that's the next one to be lit. Right up here, it will be lit. And then, if there are candelabras, she'll start on this side again. This left as you're facing this way, right as you're facing the congregation, right hand of God facing us. From the outside in, she will light. Then, making sure that she comes in front of the altar. Watch your step, because it's not a lot of room. Then you'll come to the other side, from the outside in. And then finally, she'll make her way. Did you see she took measure to make sure she had enough wick so it doesn't go out? If it does go out, just light it from one of the altar candles and you'll be fine. But then she'll come again to this side. This is always our starting side for lighting the candles in pairs, and then she'll turn and light that last candle there. And someone will help you, but we'll put them out in the opposite way, and we'll leave it at that for now. So, extinguish your wick, there we go, and push it back out to make sure, there we go.